Brooklyn Bridge lies in the shadows of the awesome skyscrapers of downtown Manhattan. Only 100 years ago, its mighty neo-Gothic pillars dominated the New York skyline. For many New Yorkers, they still are the gate to another world. Thomas Wolfe, one of the many writers fascinated by the melancholy energy of Brooklyn, wrote, "Brooklyn, only the dead know Brooklyn." Henry Miller, who loved Brooklyn, called it a gigantic hole. To him, even the war did not wreak as much havoc as this social earthquake area, this melting pot into which wave upon wave of immigrants were thrown for over a century. Fire hydrants are often the only oasis in the burning heat and dusty air of this big city jungle. First settled as a Dutch colony in the 17th century in a sandy lagoon, Brooklyn still does justice to its original name, Breukelen, broken land, swamp, wasteland. There are 200 miles of shoreline between the water and the desolate streets where Scarface Al Capone once earned his nickname, and where today a few lonely figures seem to wait for nothing and dogs stray past dilapidated buildings. To Henry Miller, it seemed like an extinct volcano, as barren and desolate as the name of God in the mouth of a disbeliever. Here in Brooklyn, a man down by the harbor said, "You don't live, you survive."
Brooklyn ist sozusagen das Leben auf das Minimum reduziert.
Brooklyn, you could say, is life reduced to a minimum. That is why it is so interesting. The reason so many authors, writers, and artists come from Brooklyn is that there, life is reduced to the minimal formula: sex, violence, and survival.
Auf eine minimale Formel reduziert ist, und die heißt eben Sex, Gewalt und Überleben. Und das
That basically is Brooklyn. No bullshit. It's really a place where everything is at stake. We were there, and we can tell you that it is still how it is today. There are all the crack kitchens there. The mafia is there. There's a high crime rate there. And my production manager told me from the start that there is no way we could shoot in Redhook. It's much too dangerous. Redhook became more and more magical to me, and after no one wanted to drive me there, I finally found a taxi driver who would. I asked the cabbie why this area was so dangerous. He replied, "Because there is nobody on the street. So why couldn't we stop, get out, and take a few pictures?" And he answered, "Why the hell do you think there is nobody on the streets? Because it's so dangerous." I went ahead and took a few pictures anyway. The next morning, I called my production designer and told him, "Drive to Redhook. That is our location." At noon, he returned, pale as a ghost, and said it was right there on the street leading directly to the water. The police were there. A body was lying there. The head was cut off. The arms were cut off, so it couldn't be identified. And that was our start. The production designer immediately said, "No way, I am not shooting there." And yet, that's where we shot the whole movie. When you make a movie in the middle of reality, then things happen to you, like in our case. 7 people were shot to death a block away, and 15 were injured. They shot into a crowd with a machine gun. That's what you experience. Or you drive to location every day through a wasteland inhabited by people. You see scenes during the ride that leave a deep impression. On the other hand, that gives you the right feeling when you arrive at the set. The right feeling being, don't make any compromises.
Also, das richtige Gefühl ist, keine Kompromisse zu machen.
An old factory in the middle of the docks serves as the set for staging those shocking events on the legendary street corner in Selby's book. Constructing the facades consumed over $1 million.
What happened was they took over a whole block area in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Took over it, lock, stock, fixtures, everything. It was so healthy. It was the sharpest way I've ever worked. We had no logistics problem, no people problem. The people were fine, they were decent. Everything was great.
A film set on the outside, this old revived factory serves as a gigantic production base on the inside, where 30 seamstresses are to sew over 2,000 costumes, and where furniture and props are made. An independent infrastructure has developed to ensure smooth shooting. The hectic activity inside the shops and offices provides an unusual contrast to the desolate street scenes a few blocks away.